Welcome back to another weekly crypto market recap, number 15. And honestly, this is probably the most exciting one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you.
big week, as Barry would say.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure earlier this week he said small week, but like fuck. Oh man, but yeah, no, let's just get right into it. Like SmartCon happened, and there was a lot of big things when it comes to Chainlink. So if I were you guys, I would really go and watch the entire SmartCon event just to get all the details, because like it's just it's mind blowing. It's just really overwhelming, honestly, because like I don't know, like many people underestimated the capabilities of Chainlink, even the potential, even. So like the event just highlighted it completely. It really like just like refreshed a lot of like the memories that you may have had, like that you previously may have heard about, but you wasn't really too sure about. Like this event really confirmed a lot of that. It reassured everybody that like this is just the beginning, and like there's gonna be so much more to come that is just gonna exponentiate, like just make everything go exponential, like from this point, like not just like Chainlink in general, but the entire blockchain space. So like I'm just excited. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sort of announcement that everyone was waiting for was the announcement of staking, because
Yeah,
January 1st this year, staking was announced that it would happen somewhere this year,
yeah,
um, but it wasn't clear when exactly in the year. So first we had, what was the other event? I think it was in May somewhere.
yeah.
Um,
Which
what
one was
was
it?
it again? Well, it doesn't really matter what the name was, but people were speculating that like a concrete date for staking would be announced either then or at SmartCon.
Yep.
Um, and I mean, SmartCon happened like last week, so obviously there's not that more many months left in the year
Yep.
for staking to be released. Um, so they announced staking would go live in December, and
Yep.
then today you were able to check the eligibility
Yep.
of if you were eligible to stake Link, because it's rolled out in different phases. So the first phase is like quite limited.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah,
And
if you get early access, that's obviously better,
right.
and that's
Definitely.
happening. I think early December, right?
Yeah.
And
And like
then
you didn't even need too much to really like become eligible. All you really needed was like 7 Chainlink, like just 7 Link at a certain point. Just held that in a certain period. Let me see if I can
yeah,
find
I
the
think it was
requirements over here.
yeah, I have the requirement somewhere in Discord. It
Yeah. So
was, yeah, let's see. So you need it between the period of um May 30th,
yeah.
2019 and June 7th, 2022.
Yeah.
Um, for 50% of that time, you needed to have a balance of at least 7 Link,
Yeah.
or for a period of 90% of the time between August 5th and 2021 and June 7th,
Mm.
2020. Also a balance of 7 Link or more. Um, so yeah, if you're eligible for that, then you're on the early access list. If
Yeah.
not, you can still be on the general access list, which will get access, I believe, a little later in December.
Hmm.
But the problem could be, it could be the case that the pool is already filled up by that
Yep.
time. So yeah, that
Like
is quite likely, I think.
yeah,
Um,
highly likely.
Not sure exactly, but I think that is quite likely. So I think a lot of people who got the early access are pretty happy about that.
Agreed. Yeah, and like like the early access, you're gonna be able to stake up to 25 million. That's what's gonna allow in the pool initially, but it will scale to like 100 million. Like they're gonna add another 75 million over time. So like
Yeah,
you're gonna be able to get in, but like it's like the earlier you are, the better. So that's why it's like, yeah, it's really really exciting. And like if you got the early access, because like everybody's gonna be like once the general access is out, everybody's gonna be like trying to like get in. Like how you said before the call, like for Bancor, like if you was trying to like provide liquidity in Link, like single sided liquidity, it was always filled up. Always, you would have to like wait till there was a small portion that was like open at a set time to then go and run to then like deposit your link. And like people even use like Twitter bots to like see when exactly that opening was there, so like it was available. So it's like I could see the exact same thing happening with Chainlink stake, and then yeah, and
yeah,
it's not even just limited to that. There's gonna be node operators like Link Pool and some of the other ones that's gonna allow staking on their own node. So it's you may not be able to get in on the main pool, but you're still gonna be able to get into some of these other like node operators. But like it's gonna get really exciting. It's really just a start, honestly, and like that's and like I feel like Coinbase, pretty much capitalized on the hype with Chainlink, and they pretty much partnered up with Chainlink and the Coinbase cloud specifically, and like that's honestly pretty exciting to see because like we were talking about it in the last live stream, just seeing how Coinbase is really focusing on like Ethereum and like the like some of the instead of like pivoting like how FTX pivoted to like focusing on Solana. Like I like
yeah,
seeing them also like integrating Chainlink because I mean it is a standard. It
yeah. I mean,
really just is.
I could also see Coinbase come out with Chainlink staking, right? Because
Oh yeah,
it'll
that.
just, yeah, for them it'll just be, let's say the return per year on Chainlink staking is like 5%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this a little bit before the call, that there's basically two ways that you can increase your reputation as a node um, with Chainlink, and that's either having a good reputation for longer, but since you can't make up for time in the past that you weren't staking, that's not really an option for newer node services,
Yeah.
or um, have more capital at stake, so have more links staked on your node. And for Coinbase, that would be quite easy to do because it would just be like, let's say, again, like let's say the return per year is like 5%.
Mm-hmm.
If they can offer to their users the opportunity of getting, let's say, 4%, um, then they can probably convince most of their users who hold Link on their exchange to be like, all right, yeah, I'll stake with them because that's four
Exactly.
percent. That's 4%, a 4% return that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
Then Coinbase instantly has like a huge stake on their node because they're super big. I don't know, of course, what the numbers are on the amount of people that hold Link on Coinbase, but I imagine it'd be quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and they make some return that they also previously didn't have. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Agreed.
So yeah, I can definitely see them doing that, and then probably also other companies are gonna do that. Probably Binance is gonna offer that. All the major exchanges, right? Because if
It
there's
just makes the
some,
most sense. Yeah.
yeah, if there's some revenue stream that you can get, that you can compete with, why not use it?
Yeah. Agreed. And like even just going into like the possible revenue streams, like this is just something that wasn't even like people would even assume that this would be like something that would be included in the new economics. Like and it's the ability for you to be able to stake Link earned the 6% or whatever, and then on top of that, you're gonna potentially be earning like different tokens from these different projects that are built using Chainlink, and that's exciting. And the only way that like that would work essentially is that essentially like let's say a project is being developed and they have yet to be profitable and they need Chainlink services. They essentially could front like essentially pay for these services with like 3 to 5% of the supply of their token, and that's insane. So now you're earning, the 6% in Link, and also these different tokens from all these different projects that are being created simultaneously. So imagine the return on investment. Imagine the yield. Like it's gonna be crazy. And the thing is, the more that the space grows, the bigger the yield for whatever you're earning in Link. That's 6% plus the different projects that you're gonna be earning. So you're essentially like gathering up a portfolio of different projects that you could decide whether to like hold on to or to sell for like for cash, and you never really have to
Yeah.
sell Chainlink, and that's like unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it will depend, of course, how big the return is from those extra tokens. If it's like,
Yeah,
let's say, another 1% or more or less. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't something I think most people saw coming. So
yeah,
yeah, it
agreed.
also says, I see now in the post, I never saw coming. Um, but
Yeah, no,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
interesting.
it's pretty smart, because if you think about, if this would have been implemented at, let's say, when DeFi summer started, right?
Yeah,
You could have possibly gained multiples of what you had,
exactly.
just by earning those extra tokens. Like if you could have earned like the early Aave, which was then called ETH Lend, I believe.
Exactly.
I mean, if you could have earned that, or Yearn tokens, right, when they were
Exactly.
just like a few dollars or whatever.
Synthetics, anything, like all these different projects, like yeah, we would have, like just that alone you would have made multiples like X.
Yeah,
And that's honestly crazy to think about, because like everything we've seen like in the last DeFi summer, that was just the beginning. Like we're gonna see like DeFi ramp up to a level that we never would have even been able to conceptualize. And it's not just DeFi; it's gonna be every single project. Like imagine with CCIP, imagine hybrid smart contracts. Like it's just like the potential for earnings is like unlimited. Like
yeah,
it's crazy. So like yeah, no, like, and this stems back to like essentially let me see, essentially like the like the like it's not just like just that. It's more things. Like there's so many like positive feedback loops that are combined. Like this is outlining the entire chain like economics 2.0, which is essentially like it goes through the process of Chainlink build and then Chainlink scale, then startup with Chainlink hackathons, and then so on and so forth. For like it just it just like it adds not just value to the stakers of Chainlink and the node operators, but the projects that are being built using like the services of Chainlink. It's just like it just makes way more sense to use Chainlink at that point, and it's like, and it's gonna be infinitely growing, like the amount of possibilities that you're gonna be able to like build using Chainlink. So it's like this is just crazy.
yeah. I mean, like we said it before the call, but now it feels like it is just a matter of waiting. If you see,
Yep.
I mean, the sort of look at partnerships is always a sort of we used for projects, I think, or not always, but it is sometimes used kind of as a weak thing, or not. Weak is not necessarily the right word, but kind of as a crutch. But I mean, they have real partnerships going into effect like pretty soon, and I mean, all they're already partnered with a lot of companies and projects, of course. But I think now we're slowly also starting to see things happening in the real world.
Yeah.
Um, and especially, I mean, it also depends on the legislation around crypto. But
Right.
if that's not completely garbage, then I think we'll also see more of a of a transition from traditional finance to more yeah, digital blockchain based finance. And then
I
I mean,
agree.
at that point, it's just the floodgates are open, right? Like
Yeah.
I think a while back, like I made a presentation where I showed like the different sizes of markets, right? And I mean, I think most people have seen that picture where you see how the
Yeah.
derivatives market just completely dwarfs any other market. I mean, if Chainlink, those were kind of those old Chainlink posts, but if Chainlink can even only capture 1% of that, then it's so
Exactly.
fucking golden. Like, yeah,
Yep.
we're so back, boys. But unironically, like, then then you never have to work again, basically. Hopefully,
No, literally though, because like you can't, like you're not, like what work are you really needing to do? Like the work is being done for you with this node. Like you're staking your chain like on this node and it's doing all everything you see right here is pretty much being done in the back and you're not really doing anything. You see what I'm saying?
yep,
And like
yeah,
that's that potential is infinitely growing because the space is going to be infinitely growing and getting bigger and more secure and like right now we may not see the stock market on chain yet, but using this new economic system, like oh my goodness, the stock, not even just one stock market, all stock markets is going to be on chain, and the stock markets is just going to be the beginning. It's going to be just everything is going to be on chain because of this new economic system, and it's like it's really hard to really pinpoint an exact market cap for where Chainlink would be, but this is exactly why Bank of America was saying, "Oh yeah, Chainlink is gonna like definitely surpass like Bitcoin."
yeah.
This is
I
exactly how
mean,
they would do it.
it's if you're talking about stocks, right? You see it slowly happening in the sense that FTX already offers like synthetic stocks. I
Yep.
mean, obviously, synthetics offers like synthetics stocks trading, and like I said, I mean, FTX is not on chain, of course, but I can see them making some move more towards that. And also
Agreed.
there are some other platforms slowly starting to list some synthetic stocks, but I think there was one interview um, with Sam Bankman-Fried um, where he was asked like, yeah, where do you see FTX going, like do you see it replacing something like a Nasdaq? And then he said like, yeah, I'm I don't know, but he was like, yeah, I don't know, but I would be I would be somewhat disappointed if we never challenged them in my lifetime. And
Agreed.
I mean, that is a pretty well statement to think about, I think, because yeah, that is such an institution. Like if crypto can really challenge that, and I think honestly, by the way, um, like you see a lot of regulation popping up now. Like I don't know if you've watched that video about the EU regulation that's supposed to go into effect, I think next year. Um, but to be honest, that was pretty reasonable, I will say. Like I will say it hesitantly, but it seemed like fairly reasonable. Um, and what that does is it opens up um, it opens up the possibility for more capital to enter the space by companies that were previously not super keen on joining the crypto industry because it was somewhat vaguely regulated, right? Like
Agreed.
um, from like things from like projects that we have worked with and seen around us. Like we know it is, for example, hard um, to open a bank account if you're working on a crypto
Exactly.
project. So if regulation can make that easier, then it is already more likely that more companies will come into the space and do something in crypto, which obviously brings new capital into the space.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more it grows, and that's that's just good for everyone, you know.
Yeah, no, the thing is, people got to realize like DeFi is just the beginning. There's going to be NFTs, gaming, identity payments, insurance, enterprise, advertisement, supply chain, e commerce. So many industries are going to be disrupted with this technology that then people are going to realize, wow, the potential of Chainlink was extraordinarily obvious. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, yeah, it feels kind of like the early days of Chainlink are now, or I'm not saying it's coming out already, because like I don't think, in all seriousness, Chainlink is going to replace the entire financial system tomorrow, right? Like that is not happening
They got to
anytime
start
soon.
with Swift first, and at least
Yeah,
that, that
I
was
mean,
already confirmed. You know?
yeah, it is definitely like they're building slowly but steadily. But
Exactly.
if you would have told me like 3 years ago what we're seeing now, I think
Oh
I
yeah.
mentioned it. I think I mentioned it earlier when, or like on one of the earlier streams, or maybe in a conversation between the two of us, where it
Mm-hmm.
was like I remember the first prize feed going live, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think it was Synthetics, who were using like the ETH USD price feed, and it was just like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. Someone actually wants to use this, you know? Like, oh,
Right.
there's actual demand for this thing, and it's so it there is a sort of product market fit. Like there's actually someone who wants to use this, and then every time that a new price feed went online, it was, or a data feed, it was like, oh cool, there's this new data feed online, and now it's just like
Uh,
almost, I don't want to say every day, but like it's so much that you don't even keep track of anymore, because
yeah,
it's too much, right? Like
yeah.
there's
It's just
so much, yeah,
compounding exponentially.
there's so much services and projects being implemented or integrated with Chainlink, that
Agreed.
yeah, they're kind of the backbone, sort of the invisible backbone of DeFi, I guess. And not a lot of people seem to be paying attention to it.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think it is not too much to say that the majority of DeFi right now wouldn't work, if Chainlink wasn't there.
Yeah, bro. I feel like the majority of applications in general, like it's just like so many people underestimate like what exactly an oracle does and what exactly Chainlink specifically as an oracle what it does. Because yeah, an oracle can do maybe like small set of services like price fees like how you were mentioning, but Chainlink takes that and expands on it completely, and it just combines so many different services that's like wow, that makes sense to be combined, and that makes sense for something like Chainlink to be offering it because it enables like the level, like so many levels of like applications to be created, and that's what people don't realize. Like even before Chainlink, tell me like the DApps that you were using before Chainlink, none. It
Yeah,
was all
honestly, I think honestly the only one that I can remember that probably wasn't using Chainlink was IDEX. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember IDEX, but
yeah.
yeah, it was pretty shitty back then, to be honest. Right now, all I know is they have a good marketing team going on, because under pretty much every funny Twitter post, there's the IDEX account saying like "bet more" or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Um, but back then, yeah, it wasn't like, it was just, it was a bit clunky, you know, like it wasn't the best user experience, I would say. It
Agreed.
wasn't terrible, but it was also not that great. So it was just basically a place to buy obscure altcoins on
Hmm.
chain. And yeah,
Promising the world and not no idea how they would even accomplish it. You see what I'm saying? And now it's like now it's like, okay, now this is actually possible because we actually have the technology to make it possible, right? And it's now that's why I'm saying like I feel like it's like at that point where it's like we're like it's gonna start getting really crazy, and like more and more people are gonna start building in the space because of these like this new economic system, like this like Chainlink like coming out with this really is gonna drive the growth of blockchains in general. So it's like I'm all for it. I'm excited. Like like
Yeah,
it's gonna be really crazy to be honest. Like even as like someone that doesn't like hold Chainlink, you could see the value of what Chainlink is bringing and what we're gonna see in the future. Like as like for the space and how big it will get. Like you see how far it will go, and like you may not be invested in just Chainlink now or whatever, but like imagine a product that's created using this technology in the future, which is maybe like huge, maybe you're just as big, maybe it takes it to the next level, but it wasn't possible if it wasn't for this implementation. And this is what I'm saying. It's like there's so much potential here that like people are not realizing yet. Like, yeah, this is all great. Yeah, you can make money from staking and make money from all these, other projects, that's great. But like
yeah,
the potential of what can be built now is insane. You can't really conceptualize it.
yeah. No, I mean, like you said, I think what is very interesting about what you said is even as someone who doesn't hold Chainlink, I think most people who are sort of aligned with the core principles of crypto
Mm-hmm.
um, are rooting for Chainlink, or at least the idea of what Chainlink is doing, right? Like
Exactly.
if you could argue that there's a way better competitor, I'm all ears.
Right.
But
Seriously.
right now, I don't really hear that argument being made anywhere, to be honest. But just like you know you're getting secure outside data of like outside of a blockchain, right? So if you're all for decentralization and all
Mm,
that, then I mean the idea of Chainlink should appeal to you even if you're not a token holder. Like you don't need it to
agree.
be a token holder um, to root for like secure data feeds.
Exactly. And then it's like, yeah, it's just gonna like how we said, like everything has been compounding continuously, like everything they've been building. So like this is what we see now, and this is not the end. This is just the beginning. So
Yeah.
imagine how far it will compound in the next couple of years. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm completely excited.
I think what is good about what we've reached so far with Chainlink is just, or we, I mean, what they have reached so far. I mean, we as an
Yeah.
industry, right? But
Right. Right.
is you already see it working. It already
Exactly.
has been stress tested in
Exactly.
at least
Multiple.
within the crypto industry, right?
Mm,
Everything seems to be working as it should do. Um, but DeFi is tiny in comparison to pretty much the off-chain world. So now it's like, okay, yeah, we know this works.
mm-hmm.
Now let's go do it at scale. You know, like
Exactly.
let's get it out into the real world and not just our little
Yeah.
Ponzi casinos that are
Exactly.
fun, but like I want to see prediction markets based on the weather, right? Like I want to see actual real world data being the main focus point and not necessarily sort of a sort of afterthought as it seems to be now, right? Like I want to,
Exactly.
yeah, I want to have
No,
more outside data and having
very
that
well
being used in a useful way on chain.
agreed. Yeah, no, that's very well said, man. I can't wait to see the next evolution of projects that are going to be built with this new economic system. Like it's gonna be very exciting. Like I mean, we see it in a different light because like we've built many different projects and we've seen like how like how people conceptualize what they're trying to build and like what they think like they can build, and like right now is nothing. It's nothing. So like it's just really exciting to see that this new system is gonna really bring this new level of like innovation. It's gonna be really exciting to see what people build at that point, and it's gonna bring in a boatload more users, and it's not just gonna be for like, oh yeah, I buy token, number go up, and number go
Yeah.
down. More than that,
Yeah.
way more than that, guys. Come on now. But yeah, let's end it off with the UN pretty much calling
Yeah.
on the Fed to halt interest rate increases.
Yeah. I mean, this was so unexpected, and like I saw this on tweeted by Bitcoin Magazine, and then I don't follow them, but I follow a bunch of other accounts who shared the tweet,
Yeah.
and it was like, wait, is this real? Like, is this a shit post or something, or am I missing something? But then, yeah, you can obviously search it. It's on the Wall Street Journal. I'm
Right.
sure with the right keywords from the title, anyone can find the article. But it's just so surreal because I mean the UN is not like a financial institution per se. I
Hmm.
mean they obviously do comment on if there's like a super bad economic crisis going on in let's say some third world country where it's so bad that there's some sort of food shortage or something like that. But
Right.
yeah, this is pretty intense, man, because I think what they're pretty much alluding to is that if the Fed raises interest rates as quickly and as high as they do now, um, that then third world countries mainly will get into trouble because they can't service their debt anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and
And
then
they're
what?
already in trouble. So like, if they
Yeah,
can,
exactly. Yeah,
it's like,
Uh,
it's just
yeah,
too bad. It's
exactly.
just
They're
yeah.
already in trouble, and then yeah, they get fucked basically.
No, literally.
Yeah, not. I don't really have another way of putting it, but it
Yeah.
reminds me of this interview that I saw about high frequency trading, right? And it was pretty much interviews with different people, but um, mostly with quants who work at these high frequency trading firms.
Yeah.
So all super smart people. And there was this one professor in mathematics, I believe, um, who said, like, yeah, if there's if there's like anything that you do in real life, right? A 1% difference, whether that be up or down in that thing, probably doesn't really affect your life in any way. But if suddenly interest rates increase 1% or 2%, right? Even that could change like a global economy pretty
Exactly.
severely. But that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like they're now thinking about or I'm not sure if they already implemented it or yeah, right, it says here Fed approves third straight um 75 basis point rate increase. So yeah, like it says here, that's 0.75 percentage. So that's not that much, honestly. Like if you think about it, right?
Mm.
Again, like if you would, let's say, if you would eat like 0.75% more, if you would consume 0.75% calories more per day,
Hmm.
you probably wouldn't really notice much, right? Like if you would do that for maybe a year or so, yeah, maybe you would gain a little bit of weight, but nothing too substantial.
Right.
That wouldn't make that much of a difference. Or yeah, like basically anything of that low of an increase. But it shows how over leveraged this system is, that
Yeah.
an increase of that little can basically fuck up the whole global economy. And I mean, I know this is not the first rate raise, so it's not just the 0.75%, but
Right.
it's still not like they're raising rates 5% every time, right? Because that's totally not happening.
Exactly.
um, but it kind of shows how, yeah, like I said, how unstable and over leveraged the whole system is, and it's kind of crazy to think about because there's not that many things where such a small deviation would make would have like such a big impact on your day-to-day life.
Yeah. No, agreed. And it's like the thing is like if what they continue raising in hopes of the inflation to go down, and
Yeah,
then if they continue raising, then it's hurting a bunch of other countries. But if they stop, inflation will continue going up. Hyperinflation will set in. So either way, it's like we're fucked. So it's like we got the thing is like we gotta like start really looking at like what is money? What is the value of money? Because like people have yet to ask that question. There's still a majority of people that's saving their money in the bank. And it's like, and the only ones that are going to continue getting rich off whatever amount of inflation is happening are the ones that are holding assets. And it's not any asset that's going to really, make you wealthier or maintain your buying power. It's specific assets that are like, something like Chainlink, for example, that's going to have like continuous growth, right, over time as the whole ecosystem continues to grow. So like once people start realizing that, it's gonna be very interesting. I mean, I see that's why I see like the markets have like you know some relief soon, maybe a bounce, but it's mainly because of the idea of like, yeah, where else can we hold on to our buying power? You know?
yeah, I mean, that's very interesting because I honestly don't know, like, um one of the few things I would probably guess is like oil and natural gas and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Because like, yeah, I don't think most currencies are looking that great apart from the US dollar. Um, so maybe the US dollar, but um,
Even that's risky at this point. It's already like
yeah,
practically buying the top.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true. But if we're looking at the euro, and I can really only speak for the euro, but
Yeah.
um, it's basically at this point like winter is coming, unironically, and I mean the prices are just getting so insane for most people that I think there's two options, and I didn't think of this myself. I read this of someone on Twitter, but um, yeah, basically there's two options. Either the EU just cave in to whatever Putin wants and
Yeah.
say like, all right, yeah, we'll lift the sanctions on Russia. Um, but I don't think that's very likely because I think the EU leaders are pretty stubborn and arrogant, so they don't want to admit their defeat. Um, in my opinion, I think that's not gonna happen.
Mm.
And the other option is what they're already talking about in a lot of countries in the EU is just putting a price cap on like gas and stuff like that. But that's just on the like the demand side, right? Like they can
Yeah.
say, because let's say I don't know exactly the prices, but they can say like, all right, yeah, we won't let the price go above this amount of dollars per month for let's say family of four, because otherwise it'll be unaffordable. But suppliers will still say like, yeah, no, but this is the market rate, so you'll have to pay the market rate. So the only thing they can do is basically the government pays the difference between those prices.
Yeah.
um, and that's just government subsidy, right? And that's coming
Literally.
from money printing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it might be sort of the top for buying the dollar in a sense, but I don't really see how the euro would gain
Yeah,
a lot of value on the dollar at this point because yeah, like I said, winter is coming and it's looking pretty bleak honestly, unless the war stops, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
nope.
Um, and I mean for other currencies, I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend and LARP like some macroeconomics expert or anything.
Right.
Yeah, I like at the major currencies. I can't say. I just think that, like we talked about earlier with the UN article, right? Like I think the
Mm,
third world countries with like not really that great of currencies probably are kind of fucked. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I guess out of all the bad options, holding the dollar is not that bad. But I don't really know which assets could go up because pretty much Powell, what he was saying was just like, yeah, we're gonna crash markets until we combat inflation, right? So yeah, that doesn't sound too good for asset classes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be very interesting. I mean, like it's. I mean, you can't really predict what could happen from this point. That's why it's like everybody's just constantly on the edge of their seats, just watching everything, watching the Fed meetings, watching the markets, everything. Because it's like even the inflation, the percentages there, they don't really tell you the right number.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
dude. It's bullshit. I mean, I don't know
Yep.
whatever number it is in the US. I think it's something like 8%, right? Yeah, I
They
mean,
wish it was 8%.
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my
I mean,
god.
here they said it was here the official number was 17.1%.
What the
I mean,
fuck?
that's the
Imagine the real number.
yeah, exactly. That's the official number. So you already know they're lying. Like
Yep.
I know like the gas bill is up like 3 to 4 times. I mean, depending kind of on the estimate that you're getting from whatever supplier you have. It's like
Mm.
4 times as much, as far as I know. I mean, food is also fucking through the roof. I mean, it sounds kind
Yep.
of like a boomer comparison, but I mean, I remember what like 1 or 2 years ago, it was maybe around let's say 10 cents for an egg, so you would get 12 eggs for 120, and now it's like 260, so that's over 100% increase. I
Yep.
mean, it's the same for spaghetti, and like obviously, I'm just a kind of giving anecdotal examples here, so you could argue like, yeah, that's cherry picking, whatever. Um, but
It's
I don't
valid.
know. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe 17%. I just do not believe that. I mean,
Same.
maybe I don't know, maybe on homes, of course, there's obviously not like 100% increase in home prices within a year, right? That's not the case.
Hmm.
But still, like I do not believe that 70%. So yeah, I don't know whatever the real number is, but I think it is probably at least double.
Agreed. No, that's why it's like, I mean, like it's just a problem all around. Like even the data that we're getting fed is like it's we don't know whether to trust it or not. So it's like all we really can do is just wait and see what happens. We can't really do anything, and that's the sad part about all of this. But yeah,
Yeah.
you want to end it off right
Yeah, let's end it here on a super positive note. Yeah, no,
here?
we just got to power through, man. I mean,
Yeah. No, that's all we can do. Yeah.
yeah.
Seriously. But all right, guys.